Good morning, class. This is Dr. Overstreet, and I wanted to give you a little bit of a tour and some emphasis for week 2. You have some really important work to do this week in order to get used to identify your topic for our final project. And this is maybe the most important decision you can make because you're not going to be writing a research paper as such, but instead what you're going to be doing is looking at a topic using your sociological concepts that are introduced. So I want you to really think about the topic that you select. Some topics don't work very well for this assignment, and unfortunately I've seen this be a real problem for some students, and I don't want that to happen to you. So you need to select an issue that has the potential to bring about maybe some social change to our society. You need to select an issue that you can identify some specific social roles. We'll be studying about these. You need to have a topic that is influenced by cultural beliefs and values. And also, it needs to be an issue where you can see some differences in patterns of who's involved in the issue based on race or gender or ethnicity or some other aspect of social inequality. So it's a little bit tricky because you haven't been introduced to all these concepts just yet. But you are going to be introduced to one of the concepts this week, and that is cultural beliefs and biases. So I'll tell you more about that in just a moment. But first, let me review with you what you're being asked to do in your second week. First of all, be sure that you, and here I am, I'm in the learning modules. I'm on module 2. Most of you know exactly where I am. And I would encourage you to read the overview. Let's look at this. The overview will help orient you to what you're doing and why you're doing it within each week's module. So we're looking at culture this week, and I wanted to scroll down and emphasize this second paragraph. And it says, to best understand this broad concept of culture, it's important to understand the smaller sociological concepts related to culture. Now, the one that's really important for your topic is cultural beliefs or values. And here I read, values, otherwise known as cultural beliefs, are beliefs that are shared by a group of people of what is good or bad, right or wrong. So an example of one value or cultural belief in contemporary American culture is the American dream, which is the idea that hard work produces success and prosperity. Now, this is only one example of a cultural belief. We have a belief that the individual should have freedom to make decisions on their own. That's a cultural belief. We have a belief that being financially successful makes a person better. I'm not saying I agree with that belief, but that is a dominating belief in American society. So please take the time to read this, and also to go to the reading that's assigned for your text. And I'm going to try to pull this over. Let's see if I can get it here. Here I am in our textbook, and I'm in chapter 3, part of your assigned reading, and I'm looking at values, norms, and sanctions. And again, let me read. Values are a set of shared beliefs that a group of people consider to be worthwhile or desirable in life. What is good and bad, right or wrong, beautiful or ugly. They articulate the essence of everything that a cultural group cherishes in its society. So then you're given more examples, but I want you to think about when you're choosing a topic, what are the beliefs about this that help feed this topic? This is going to be an important aspect of your analysis of the issue. Okay, I'm going to move this book back out of the way. By the way, if you're having trouble locating how to find the book, send me a message and I'll direct you to those people who can help you find your book. You can also well, let's go from there and we'll get you into the book and reading. Reading this book will make everything make a lot more sense. And if you don't read the text, don't access the text, you're going to feel lost, and you're probably not going to understand the feedback that I give you when I'm scoring your assignment. So please, again, take the time to find the book early on and get into it. So this is chapter 3 you're going to be reading. You're also introduced to some very, very important academic writing skills. So you're asked, first of all, to watch a video, and I don't know if this will come out if I link on it, but I'm going to try. This is talking about citing. This is showing who wrote certain things, where you get your information. You have two types of ways to cite your sources. One is within your paper, you'll use an in-text citation, and the other is to provide the full specific reference using APA formatting at the end of your paper. So let's see what happens if I open this. I'm not sure using this recording device. Here it is. So here's citation, a very brief introduction.
At some point in your career as a student, you've probably had a teacher tell you to cite.
Okay, so I want you to be sure that you look at this. I won't go through it right now, but look at it. You should not be using a topic that you've used over and over again. That's a type of plagiarism called self-plagiarism, where you're citing yourself for work that you've done in another course. So you don't want to do that. You want to choose a new topic. You want to get a fresh perspective on an issue. So anyway, here we go. Let me go back down into our module. So you're going to be reading chapter 3. Look at this citation video. And then you also want to go through and look at how to reference and cite your sources using APA style. That's what we use in social science. This is the American Psychological Association's style. So when I click on this, here we go. You've got the information. How do I cite my sources in APA style? How do I cite a website? How do I cite an image? What is the APA style or format? How do I do an in-text citation in APA style? I'll just show you that. And then here's a video. So, I mean, the information is there, just waiting for you to come on in and look at it. Let me see what we have here. So this is going to show you exactly how you should paraphrase information. And by the way, I have a real emphasis on not using direct quotes, because if you quote directly from something, if you cut and paste it and put it in, it really is writing the paper for you, and that's not what you want to do. You want to show that you understand what is being said. So put it in your own words, and then you'll give credit to where you got the idea in this way. Here's an in-text citation. Michelson, 2016, examine the use of novels in business ethics education, and then it shows where that is. So these are some examples. And this is what an in-text citation would look like in some instances. All right, let's go back to the module. So you have all kinds of resources for you in learning to write academically. And this is not the same as just, our informal writing. If I text my brother, it doesn't look the same as an academic paper. If I post on Facebook, or if I even send an email, it may or may not meet the qualifications of academic writing. Academic writing is supposed to be objective. It's supposed to be responsible in that you show where your ideas come from, because academic writing is really a community effort. We're using the information that other scholars have provided us in a new way, and so anyway, it's very, very different. Please contact the Online Writing Center. If you look here, Online Student Services, you'll find the Online Writing Center. We have announcements about the Online Writing Center. Make them your best friends and go and work with them to make this sociology course the place where you learned how to write academically, and you are going to just shine from here on out. All right, so these are a lot of resources to not ignore. They're very, very important, and that's why they're here at the beginning of the course. Then you're going to have a discussion. With your discussions, please make sure that you read the full discussion prompt. And here we go. Here it is. Some people have already been in, and I'm not going to go there. I don't want to do that. I'm going to go back and go back into our modules. But you want to open this up, and you want to be sure that you respond based on the prompt, because each of these discussions will ask you to do specific things when you reply to others. So you don't want to just agree with them. You want to address whatever is being asked of you in that particular discussion, and they're not always the same. Sometimes you're trying to look for commonalities. Sometimes you're asking additional questions. So be sure that you look at all of the instructions in each of the discussions. Then you also this week, the whole reason I'm really making this video is that you're selecting a final project topic. I'm going to look at and see. This is just partial information. Let's open this up and see what we get. Here is the real instruction, okay? Here's the assignment information. You see what I did? I clicked on the title. So if you just read the little summary that's in the modules, you're not going to have all of the information that you need. Always click on that to open up the full assignment and see what you're being required to do. Milestone 1 is your first opportunity to work on an element of your final project. You want to look at the milestone guidelines and rubrics. So unfortunately, if you use your phone to access the course, you may or may not see the links. So I really strongly encourage you to find a computer and the full website to look for the instructions, because otherwise you're going to feel like you missed something, and you will miss something. So this is, you also have an institutional release statement that you need to agree to. And this is where you will click to write your submission. And or to attach a file. And if you attach a file, it's always going to be compared with others that have been submitted to make sure that your work is original. And if you have any additional comments for me, you'll add those here. But what I want to do is also to show you how to open a rubric. And the rubric is something that's written. SNU has written this. I'm bound to score your assignments based on the rubric. So one of the best tips I can give you is always do your work in a way that's steered toward the rubric. So let's open it up. This is a rubric. Now, in this milestone 1 rubric, this is our first milestone, the topic selection. It is going to, I'm going to score you on whether you identified the social issue and cited scholarly sources. These have to be sources that are academically viewed as credible, meaning it's not something that someone said, it's not from YouTube, it's not from any .com website, it's from a scholarly source. And visit the Shapiro Library if you don't know how to distinguish between credible and non-credible sources. Or ask me and I'll help you. You'll get a score of proficient on the topic selection if you have identified the issue and you have cited your sources. That means, you know, some of the things that you've reviewed in APA citation and referencing. In this one, the person has identified the social issue but didn't cite any sources, or the topic selection doesn't make sense. It has gaps in the detail, or it's not accurate. And then if you don't clearly identify the social issue, you get no score. It's not evident. The summary, you're going to be asked to summarize the issue. Again, you're summarizing the social issue as instructed and you're citing your sources. Or you summarized, and that would be proficient, that'd be this score. Or you summarized the social issue, but you didn't cite your sources, or there's gaps in the detail or accuracy. If it's inaccurate, or if it doesn't make sense, it's going to need improvement. If this is not done, if you haven't provided a summary, you won't get any credit for this. Then in each of your assignments, this course is designed to help you learn to write, to improve your writing. So in the articulation of response, it's considered proficient if you have no major areas related to your citations or grammar, spelling, syntax, which means sentence structure, or the organization. I need to be able to understand what you're saying. It needs to be logical. It also, you want to definitely proofread, and this is true of discussions too. Proofread, double check, correct all of your writing before you submit it, and you will improve your scores in articulation. Here, this one, if your submission doesn't have any major errors, if your submission has major errors related to citation, grammar, spelling, etc., that make it difficult to read, because, the reader doesn't want to try to figure out what you're saying or how to spell something. That should be done by you. But if there are major errors here that impact the ability to understand your major ideas, then this is going to need improvement. If it has critical errors where it can't even be understood, you're going to get 0 for articulation. Okay, let's see, what else can I show you? So that's a full assignment instruction, the rubric, the points, everything is here for you when you go in. I'm going to go back to Module 2. And then finally, this module also includes this folder, which is also contained in course information. You'll see everything in there too, in terms of assignments and so forth. But you can also open this folder and look. You have all of the details for how to participate in the undergraduate discussion, what Safe Assign involves. That's the tool that's used to make sure your work is original. You'll look at Module 1, that worksheet, the whole worksheet template and the grading rubric and the instructions are there. It's there for all of your milestones, all of the worksheets, and then the final project. You'll see how this is going to be scored. So your final project is not going to look like a research paper that you may have done before where it's just general. It's a very focused, specific kind of question and answer analysis of an issue. Okay, I hope all this information is helpful and that you can understand what I'm saying. If you cannot, please contact me. The topic that you're looking at, there are some suggested topics, and these are ones that the library has already provided some credible sources for you. And you know what, I'll just show you that. I go in here again. But if you have another topic of interest, contact me ahead of time before you submit this this week, and I will be more than happy to go in and let me get this going here. There we go. I'll be more than happy to talk with you about it and let you know if I think this is going to work for this project. Here are some of the topics that they recommend. You also have some sources. The Shapiro Library will help you. The Pew Research Center is a very, very good place to start your research, because once you select a topic and I approve it, you're going to start doing your research. And then here's a supporting resource list. Let's look at this. The library has already put all this stuff again here. You can contact the Online Writing Center if you need help. Again, you're given a link for APA style, how to put together APA references. There's another citation tool. Here's the issue. Here are some potential sources. These are all credible. They are .gov, .org. There are no .coms here. Crime and violence. Here are some sources that they've put together for you. So that's pretty good. Drug and alcohol use. If you select one of these topics, you already have a lot of sources that you can make use of. Income inequality. Here you go. So you're not limited to these topics, but I will say that a lot of the work has been done for you if you choose one of these. Okay, well, I hope you have a wonderful Tuesday, and please let me know if I can help you in any way. Thanks.